The tension exploded the moment Cleveland media narratives started circling, and Deion Sanders wasn't having it. According to sources claim, Coach Prime saw headlines, heard radio chatter, and watched clips that framed Shedeur Sanders as a problem before he even took meaningful snaps.
I'm proud of him because a lot of things happen behind the curtains that people are not privy to, and I'm proud of his endurance, his understanding. He can't control a lot of things that transpired, but he learned a lot as a young man. He had to do what he had to do, and he made it through the storms. And I'm proud of him, man. As a father, I'm proud of him because I know.
That's when the gloves came off. The message was simple and sharp. Stop playing games with a young quarterback's name. Cleveland outlets pushed angles about attitude, entitlement, and celebrity distractions. But insiders say those takes ignored film, practice habits, and leadership metrics. Deion's response wasn't vague. He broke down how narratives get planted, repeated, and amplified until they feel real. He pointed to timing, stories surfacing right before key evaluations, interviews, and team decisions, suggesting intent. He didn't accuse, he dissected. He called out how anonymous sourcing becomes a shield, how league chatter becomes a weapon, and how a young QB can get boxed in by labels before the truth shows up on Sundays. The irony is that Shedeur's tape has been steady. Quick reads, accurate throws, command of protections, and calm under pressure. Yet the noise focused elsewhere. Deion framed it as a pattern he's seen before. Market pressure mixed with clicks and preconceived bias.
Batted balls like Burrow had one yesterday, batted in a pick six. You blaming Burrow for that? No. You're blaming Shedeur for a couple batted balls that were picked off? You shouldn't, okay? So you're going to be fair here. So really, when you look at what Shedeur did this year, not having any training camp, never with the ones, defense, offense, be thrown out there, playing in brutal weather conditions, not in domes.
Cleveland is a football city, but it's also a media market hungry for angles, and Coach Prime said the hunger crossed a line. He emphasized accountability, criticized play, not personality, questioned schemes, not families. The unloading wasn't emotional chaos, it was structured. He laid out how development works, how quarterbacks mature, and how patience beats panic. He also reminded everyone that reputations are built or broken fast, especially when a player carries a famous last name. Reputations are built or broken fast, especially when a player carries a famous last name. That's where the temperature rose. Deion made it clear that protecting Shedeur's name wasn't favoritism, it was fairness. He demanded the same standards applied to every rookie QB in the league. Break down the throws, grade the decisions, time the release, measure the progress. Everything else is noise. The city felt it. Fans replayed the clip. Analysts paused, and the message landed. If Cleveland media wants credibility, it has to earn it with honest work, not recycled narratives. The deeper issue isn't one bad headline. It's the ecosystem that rewards controversy over clarity.
Dillon Gabriel will become the first quarterback to make his initial NFL start in one of the international games. Jason Lloyd with his thoughts on Dillon Gabriel.
I actually think Dillon is going to be competent. I don't think he's going to be a star. I don't think he's not throwing for 300 yards or anything like that. But I do think he's going to.
Deion Sanders zeroed in on how concern pieces get framed as analysis while skipping the receipts. He highlighted how Shedeur's weekly prep mirrors veteran routines. Film study, script mastery, and communication with receivers. None of that made the chyron. Instead, stories leaned on body language screenshots and tunnel walk edits. Deion called it lazy. He also called it dangerous. Quarterback confidence is currency, and media speculation can devalue it overnight. According to sources claim, Coach Prime referenced internal evaluations praising Shedeur's command and coachability, evaluations that never reached the public. Why? Because they don't trend. He argued that Cleveland media fell into a trap, confusing loud takes with informed takes. The city's history with quarterbacks adds fuel. Impatience becomes policy. Deion pushed back by reframing expectations. Not every rookie is a savior. Development isn't linear. Progress is earned rep by rep. He stressed that Shedeur's growth curve aligns with successful starters who improve between weeks, not overnight miracles. The unloading also touched culture. Deion suggested that when a locker room senses external disrespect, it hardens.
He's the quarterback, but if people are going to negative in April, they're going to be negative now because they're like, oh, where is he ranked? Forget that. Look at the interceptions that were off of Jerry Jeudy.
Players rally, coaches simplify, and sometimes the results shock the same outlets that doubted them. He warned that stirring distrust can fracture alignment between fans and players. That's a losing formula. He also highlighted how misinformation spreads faster than corrections. One mischaracterized quote gets clipped, reposted, and cemented. By the time truth shows up, the damage is done. That's why he spoke loudly, so the correction traveled just as far. Cleveland fans heard a coach defending standards, not shielding a son. Deion made that distinction clear. He invited scrutiny, real scrutiny. Chart the throws under pressure, compare third down efficiency, track red zone decisions. If the play dips, say it. If it rises, say that too. According to sources claim, the media's silence on positive trends was the loudest tell. The city's sports conversation shifted after the unloading. Callers demanded film talk, hosts adjusted tone, and suddenly the discourse got smarter. That's the ripple Deion wanted, not praise, precision, not protection, parity. If Cleveland wants to win, it needs honest evaluation. Anything less is sabotage by another name.
It's not Shedeur Sanders. Listen, guys, if something was to happen here in the next couple weeks, they would promote Bailey Zappi before they would play Shedeur Sanders.
It's that bad, huh?
Do not even consider Shedeur Sanders a candidate until after Thanksgiving.
As the dust settled, insiders noted how players around the league responded to Deion's stance. According to sources' claim, several veterans privately praised the clarity, saying young QBs need defenders who understand the machine. The machine is relentless. It chews narratives and spits labels. Deion's unloading interrupted the cycle. He also addressed the elephant in the room, nepotism accusations. He dismantled them with receipts, stats, practice reports, and coaching notes. The argument was simple. Proximity doesn't equal preference. Performance does. And Shedeur's performance, while not flawless, has been trending up. Deion highlighted situational mastery, 2-minute drills, third and long decisions, and coverage identification. Those are QB currencies that don't show in box scores but win games. Cleveland media had minimized those details. Deion magnified them. He also warned against selective skepticism, questioning Shedeur's leadership while praising similar traits in others. Consistency matters. Standards matter. He called out coded language that sneaks bias into analysis. The unloading wasn't about silencing critics, it was about elevating the conversation. Cleveland's front office reportedly noticed the shift. Meetings focused more on tape, less on talk. Coaches adjusted messaging, fans demanded nuance. The temperature cooled, but the lesson stuck. Deion's approach modeled how to challenge power without burning bridges. He didn't blacklist outlets, he challenged them to do better. That's leadership. The city watched a masterclass in reframing a narrative without running from accountability. Deion ended by reminding everyone that quarterbacks are built, not crowned.
Get them into the right calls. I think he can get them lined up. I think he can complete passes, get the ball out quickly, and keep the chains moving and not turn the ball over. And that's what they're looking for.
And building requires truth, not hype, not hate, truth. According to sources' claim, that message resonated beyond Cleveland. It echoed across markets where young QBs face similar storms. Deion didn't just defend Shedeur, he defended the process. And when the process gets protected, players thrive. The aftermath revealed how fragile reputations are in today's media loop. A few Cleveland outlets quietly walked back language, reframing earlier pieces with updated context. That shift mattered. It signaled that Deion's unloading wasn't dismissed, it was absorbed. The conversation turned towards scheme fit, protection adjustments, and receiver chemistry. Shedeur's calm responses helped too. He didn't clap back, he kept stacking reps. Deion highlighted that restraint as growth. Silence can be powerful when paired with progress. He also addressed fan responsibility. Clicks drive content. Outrage feeds algorithms. Deion urged supporters to demand substance, watch the film, ask better questions. Reward outlets that do real work. According to sources' claim, the city's engagement changed. Long-form breakdowns outperformed hot takes. That's rare. It shows appetite for depth when leaders set the tone. Deion also spoke about pressure, how carrying a famous name magnifies everything. Mistakes get zoomed, success gets discounted. He urged patience. Quarterback journeys are marathons. Cleveland knows that pain. The unloading reframed hope as discipline, not fantasy. It also reminded media that access is earned through trust. When players feel misrepresented, doors close, stories suffer. Deion's message was preventative as much as corrective. He wants a healthier ecosystem where critique sharpens players instead of slicing them. That's already happening. Practice reports are cleaner, film notes are richer, and the city feels aligned again. That alignment is fragile, but it's real. Deion didn't ask for favors, he asked for fairness, and fairness is the foundation of credibility. In the end, the unloading reshaped the narrative arc and set a new baseline for how Cleveland talks football. According to sources claim, Shedeur's trajectory is now being evaluated with clearer eyes, and that's all Deion wanted. The message closed with a challenge. Keep the same energy when the tape improves, and keep it when it dips. That's honesty. That's sports. Deion reminded everyone that greatness grows in truth, not theater. As the city recalibrates, the lesson lingers. Media power cuts both ways. Use it to inform, not to inflame. Use it to build, not to bury. Cleveland's story is still being written, but the pen got steadier after Coach Prime spoke. Cleveland media pressure didn't just stay on screens and microphones, it tried to creep into the locker room, and that's where the real tension lived. Sources claim that players noticed how certain narratives were being pushed publicly, while reality inside the building looked completely different. Practice tempo stayed sharp, communication stayed clean. Shedeur Sanders continued commanding the huddle with confidence that doesn't come from hype, but from preparation. The disconnect between coverage and reality became impossible to ignore. That's where Deion Sanders drew a hard line. He made it clear that manufactured doubt can poison trust faster than bad play ever could. Players talk, coaches talk. They know when coverage doesn't match tape. When that gap widens, resentment grows. Cleveland has lived through fractured locker rooms before, and sources claim leadership was determined not to let history repeat itself. Deion's public response served as a shield, allowing football people to stay locked in while noise bounced off the outside. Inside the building, Shedeur wasn't scrambling to prove himself. He was already doing the work. Teammates reportedly praised his consistency, noting how he owned mistakes and corrected them without excuses. That matters. Quarterbacks earn respect through accountability, not slogans. Media tried painting a picture of entitlement, but locker room dynamics told a different story. Players reportedly rallied tighter, recognizing how quickly narratives can turn against any one of them. The response wasn't anger, it was focus. Deion's message validated that approach. He didn't demand praise, he demanded accuracy. Cleveland fans began noticing subtle shifts. Reporters asked smarter questions. Film clips replaced hot takes. The temperature cooled. When narratives stop dominating, football starts breathing again. That's what this moment created, a reset. The real danger wasn't criticism, it was distortion. Distortion erodes trust, and trust is everything inside a football operation. Deion understood that deeply. He's lived it, played through it, watched careers stall because perception overtook truth. His unloading wasn't loud for attention, it was loud for correction. And correction landed. Cleveland's ecosystem felt steadier. Shedeur kept stacking days, coaches kept teaching, players kept believing. That's how momentum quietly shifts. Not with viral clips, but with alignment. The locker room stayed intact, and that alone changed everything. The biggest takeaway from this entire moment isn't controversy, it's clarity. Sources claim Cleveland learned something essential about protecting its future. Teams don't fail because of criticism. They fail when noise replaces truth. Deion Sanders forced truth back into the center. His unloading wasn't emotional chaos, it was calculated leadership. He reminded everyone that quarterbacks grow through structure, coaching, and trust, not viral outrage. Shedeur Sanders continued working, letting performance speak louder than commentary. That approach resonated. Coaches doubled down on development, players leaned into unity, fans recalibrated expectations. Cleveland doesn't need saviors, it needs systems. This moment reinforced that philosophy. Deion's role wasn't just defensive, it was instructional. He showed how to challenge narratives without burning bridges. That balance matters. Football ecosystems survive on mutual respect. Media, teams, players, and fans all play a role. When one element overreaches, the structure weakens. Cleveland avoided that collapse by addressing it early. The lesson moving forward is simple but critical. Evaluate play, not personality. Track progress, not rumors. Let young players grow without labels stapled to their backs. The NFL is already brutal enough. Development requires breathing room. Deion demanded that space, and it worked. Cleveland's conversation feels different now. Smarter, slower, more intentional. That's rare and valuable. If this standard holds, the Browns benefit far beyond one quarterback. They become a healthier organization, and healthy organizations win. The moment will be remembered not for outrage, but for correction. For leadership stepping in when silence would have allowed damage. That's what Coach Prime delivered. A reminder that truth still matters, and when truth leads, football follows. If this standard holds, the football conversation wins. And when the conversation wins, the team has a chance to win too. If the breakdown brought value, show support with a like and subscribe so more real analysis cuts through the noise.